people. We got some things we've got to do. So I'm out. I've already dropped the video on TikTok. Actually quite interesting. This morning I wake up. Jennifer Kessie, she was 24 years. I said the statement wrong. I said she was 2 years older. I don't know. I know she's 2 years younger than me, but it came out 2 years older and I didn't catch it even through the edit. I guess I didn't pay attention. So she was 24. I was 26 at the time she disappeared, and she had just came back from Fort Lauderdale. Well, actually, St. Croix.
Turn right onto the I-40 West, I-85 South ramp.
She was on St. Croix. Let me turn that off. She was on. She was in St. Croix with her boyfriend, like on a vacation or whatnot, and she came back, everything was fine. Boyfriend lives in Fort Lauderdale. She's going to college in Orlando, and so they meet up here and there, whatnot. But this happened on Monday morning, the 23rd. Her flyers say the 24th, but that's when she was actually reported missing. So, good morning, everyone. We're kind of on the road this morning. I figured now would be a great time to go live. I've got some errands to run before we get out there. We're going to be in Graham Square. We're in Alamance, North Carolina. We'll be in the Graham Town Square. I think everything's being kicked off today around noon, but it's going through the weekend. This is something that Daniela's father, Daniel, called Olivia to let her know that you know, he has done a plea deal, and he's looking at some time, and they want to protest all the way. The father does not agree with this plea deal at all. There's a lot of elements to this case that they're trying not to have to address or deal with. And a few of those things are the fact that this man hit his daughter. She laid there to die for 43 minutes, and he left the scene of the accident, okay? They never gave him a blood test. They never checked. They gave him they gave him the grand treatment of being a white person associated with the long history of politics in this county. And again, you know, we have some problems. I had a welcoming committee when I came into town, you know, where an officer decided to eat my ass all the way to the hotel. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I would suggest that they probably don't really want to pick a fight with Old Lord Betty, but I can't stop. We're out here lawfully and legally. We'll continue to act lawfully and legally, and we expect our law enforcement body to also act lawfully and legally. If they choose not to, I will be making sure that reports are filed, complaints are filed, and retraining. I will make sure I'm the biggest boil on the ass of this police department or sheriff's department that I could possibly be. So much so that they're going to be so annoyed having to have everybody retrained in their office, and the money and the taxpayers' money that's going to be associated with that will be very, very high. So hopefully they allow Daniel as well as the rest of the family to protest in peace. They were railroaded by the system in this county. This man should be charged. I mean, he tampered with evidence. He kicked her phone. He moved her body. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of stuff that he should be charged with, and he's going to be getting 5 years, possibly out in 2.5 years for being under the influence of alcohol, or excuse me, substances. But that's unprovable because they failed to take the test, so they don't even have the evidence of that. Thank you, police department or sheriff's department. Again, probably do need a mess with Betty, so they do get retrained, because it sounds like they need a lot of retraining in this county. So we have an uphill battle. We're going to continue to raise our voices and bring avocation and, if need be, exposure to a situation. We'll see how the law enforcement acts here. If they act inappropriately, we will make sure we act appropriately, and we will handle our business appropriately. And I am definitely very diplomatic behind the scenes, but I get shit done, and we'll leave it at that. But we're here. We got good news. Jennifer Kessy, if you guys are just coming in, lady been missing for 20 years, almost 20 years. What was it? It's like 19 years, 4 months, and 29 days she's been missing. And this is what really pisses me off about law enforcement and stuff like that across this country. And it's very simple. Just like this case, the law enforcement body, the investigative body, held onto the case for 19 years. The family had to sue the department to get their investigative file because they weren't doing squat. And they had to turn it over to they forced them to turn the file over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement in 2022. And it seems so funny, in 2.5 years, while a small body law enforcement making this family suffer and wait for answers because they're too arrogant, they have too much of a pee problem, they want to see how far their pee can go. Arrogance has no business in crime. If you don't have what it takes, acknowledge it, hand it off, get better eyes on it. Don't take it as a stab in the back. Take it as doing the right thing for the case. So many of these police departments want to hold on to the case when they cannot solve it, or they don't want to solve it, or they don't have funds to solve it. But yet you hand it over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. 2.5 years later, boom, we got action. We've got a case that's going from a cold case to now a very active case. New evidence found, new stuff being tested with DNA, old stuff being tested with DNA, and a short list of suspects. Thank you, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Thank you. Thank you. But that's what has to be done. And it's probably what's going to end up having to be done in Sebastian's case as well. Because the only way Sumar County, because they're corrupt and they obviously have a liking to people that like to beat children, but not people that like to expose the people that beat children. Right? They like to arrest the exposers of the child beaters, but not the child beaters. Great PR, Sumar County, great PR. But I have a funny feeling this is what Seth is going to end up having to do in Sumar County to get his case moved off and moved up to the state. Believe it or not, I know he's having a pissing contest. Maybe TBI or Sumar County are having pissing contests between themselves. I don't know, but it seems to me that Sumar County, TBI is not really much better than they have too much gentlemanship in Tennessee in crime. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mind stepping on toes. If I piss officers off, oh well. If I piss detective, oh well. We're here to find information, and that's the way law enforcement needs to be with each other. You know, this whole gentlemanship is keeping a lot of cold cases cold, right? And that's the reality of it. And what do? We talk about this stuff on these shows because we want to expose an issue that's going on, has been going on and been prevalent in our law enforcement body, and yet our politicians have done nothing to curb it, right? There's no statutes, there's no new laws being put into place demanding if local law enforcement can't solve a case in XYZ date, they must, and I mean must, hand it off or must have counsel from the state investigators or something like that. There's got to be something in place here in all of our force law enforcement to be active. And even if it's budgetary issues, if they have budgetary problems, guess what? It should automatically go up to the state. It should automatically, if you cannot afford an investigation, you cannot afford to investigate a high-profile case, you should be forced to turn it over to the nearest body that can handle that size case. There are none of these laws in place across the country, and we have cold cases and cold cases and cold cases and cold cases, and they've been stacking up for decades. Some of our cases we're finally getting solved with genetic genealogy. We're finally getting that stuff solved. You know, now there's some cases that are 50 and 60 years old that are now finally being solved. The perpetrator's dead. There's no justice. But hey, we finally have the case solved. And quite frankly, that is a positive. I'm not going to knock the But we have to limit the ability of these criminals that are able to hide bodies and manipulate and lie well from justice for 20 and 30 years. We don't want to wait 20 and 30 years to see Chris and Katie held accountable for their actions, do we? We want laws, we want to force laws in place in Tennessee to curb that, to force these counties to either do their job or turn it over. And maybe it'll overwhelm the state. Oh well, more funding. Bill Lee will be responsible for that. Because that's the problem we're having across these counties, is the lack of funding. And if he's going to keep shorting his police departments in his state, then fine. The major police department, TBI, well, you get a good front row of that, Governor Bill Lee. Maybe just fund them and start kicking all this stuff up to the state investigators. I don't know. I just think that things need to happen. Every single state are faced with a lot of the same things, and that's where the problem is because we see other states handling these issues differently than we see the state of Tennessee handling them. And I think that the state of Tennessee is finally hearing the messages, because we've been beating on them for the last 5 years. It took 5 years to get some real reasonable child laws passed in the state of Tennessee, and we just saw the reality of those just in the last couple weeks. 5 years. 5 stinking years. 5 long, blessed years. So it's nice to see you all, guys. I don't know really anything else. I know Daniela Mendiola is not like, a major breaking case, especially in the case of all the breaking cases we've got. Lilly, Jack, Decker. We still have Sebastian Rogers, and now we have Catlin out of Bloomberg, PA. I think I'm going to go up there. I think that's where I'll end up going. I think I've got my boots, I've got my search gear, so I've got plenty of water. Yeah, I think I'm going to join in the search. We haven't searched for somebody in a really long time. They've got active search parties going on right now. She hasn't been found. I'm monitoring the case. I'm very interested in the area where her husband or her boyfriend or whatever his name is. I think it's her ex-husband or her estranged husband or whatever his name is. His truck was pulled out of an area, and so that's the area I want to saturate. So I've got some areas, I've got some ideas. So I think I'm going to be going out there. I'm trying to find right now, some people that I can kind of lean on. If, in PA, the good news is we have a lot of the at night family in PA. So I'm just trying to make sure I connect with them so they know where I'm at in case of emergencies. Because we're going to be out there in the rugged wilderness and seeing what we can do. It kind of sucks because I didn't pack my snake boots. I wasn't expecting this. And I actually removed my rubber boots out of the car to fit some of my equipment into the car. So, highly unprepared for a search, but hey, I got my search boots. So, at least I've got one of the necessary items that I need, okay? And I will just pray to God that there's not a whole lot of snakes in the wilderness of PA. But we'll see. But I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to go out there for a few days. I got to identify some areas, and quite frankly, maybe the husband will be able to say something. Is he going to speak to me? Is he not going to speak to me? I don't know. I am going to just see. I'd like to get his side. I'd like to hear. I got some questions. I did hear his interview, so I'm not going to ask him the same questions he's already answered. But I do have some additional follow-up questions if he would be willing to speak to me. But I'm not going to really, if things are progressing the way that they're progressing and me getting out of here several days after, I have to think that law enforcement has already started tightening the noose on him, and he's probably a little, scared or whatever. And I don't know what's going on, but it's highly highly suspicious. I mean, we're learning that this gentleman also had a previous wife. From my understanding, I haven't looked at the details. This is all in passing. I haven't watched anybody. I know that Justin has done a live on this. There's been a few content. I haven't been able to watch the information that they've uncovered. I've been on the road, so I've had an opportunity to dig in or really do any research of this. I'm just hearing, stuff that just in passing, like Catlin, what is her name? Hart, or something like that is missing, and that's really all I've got. And while I was somewhere, I started reading a portion of the article, and that's what kind of got me hooked up into it. But I found very early. I don't know what's going on with I missed my turn. That's what it is. I turned my thing off, so now I've got to go around. I gotta go out 10 more miles. That's okay. Olivia and Mom are still kind of resting, so Olivia was up editing videos pretty late last night, and so I just wanted to give them some time to rest. And I gotta try to find my bank, which my bank is like 30 minutes away from where we're staying, so that's the here I'm running right now. But I don't know. I think can't watch as much as I used to. Yeah, and I get that. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with that. I kind of got a little sidetracked when I realized I missed my turn. That's a great way to lose your train of thought. Oh shit, I missed my turn. I gotta go another 10 miles out. I love it. But I got nothing but time to kill. I forget even what I was talking about. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. I'm driving. I can't even really read the screen, and I don't have my glasses on. But I had a decent sleep last night. Of course, I'm missing my Delilah bean. She's with Gamsies, and Gamsies is really I don't know. Mom's like, can I keep her? I'm like, no, you cannot keep her. She's just a snuggle. She's just so lovable. I got the most lovable dog in the whole world, and she's supposed to be a crime fighter and taking a bite out of the crime, and I'm worried she's gonna lick the perpetrator instead of bite the perpetrator. We got problems with this one. I'm just saying. I have problems with her. Maybe I just loved her too much. I don't know. She's a good girl. Everybody she's just a doll. I don't know what else to say. I know that she was meant for me. That's all I can say. I know she was meant for me. Every time I look at that cute little face, I know God made her for me. Oh, she's adorable. So, anywho, we got here. I slept well last night. If you have TikTok, you need to go over there, because I did like a candid shot, like Olivia wasn't expecting. I just picked up the camera and I pointed it at her while she's scrolling on her phone. She's got her computer in front of her, so I know she's editing a video. She's scrolling like crazy on her phone, and I just pick up the phone and I look at her and I said, what if I told you I'm about to upload this video on TikTok in about 2 minutes? What would you do? And her expression was so cute. I uploaded it on TikTok too. I don't lie. I told her I was going to upload it. I uploaded it. So it was just, I don't know. It was funny. It's great to see her. It's been a while since we've seen each other, and every time we're around each other, we're always giggling. We work really hard, but we play, I would say we play hard too, but we really don't, because the playing hard is going back to the room and editing all the crap we did all day. So our life is pretty, mundane for the most part when we're on these cases, but we do, we're a little goofy when we're around each other, especially when we get tired and we're delusional. I think we would win like a Saturday Night Live type of situation. I really do. I think we would live. Oh, good gracious. Okay, we're getting up to North Elm Street. drive to go find my stinking bank. Good gracious. How does a Chase Bank not have freaking... There's no Chase Bank, there's no Bank of America or Wells Fargo. I have an account at those three banks, and there's not one bank around me, and the closest one is 30 minutes away. 3 national banks, and I can't find one stinking bank around me. Yeah, that's either. Don't eat gas station sushi. But you can eat public sushi. Public sushi's not that bad. But definitely not, I wouldn't trust anything coming. You don't know how long it's been there. Listen, I went and I got into town. I didn't eat all day yesterday. I was starving. I will be honest with you. I was absolutely, utterly starving. I need to turn somewhere at some point here. I know I got to get off this main drag. And so I eat, I go to, something cheap. So I'm like driving around. I didn't want McDonald's. I don't like McDonald's. McDonald's food is freaking disgusting. And I don't know why it's gotten so bad, but it has. I don't eat McDonald's. I'll eat just about anything else but McDonald's. So I saw Taco Bell. Not like that's much better. I feel ya. But I got a quesadilla. Now, this is the quesadilla cantina. Quesadillas are quesadillas, okay? They're supposed to be crispy on the outside. It's sopping wet with grease. It's disgusting. This quesadilla was disgusting. But before I realized it was disgusting, I went to put my sour cream and guacamole on the quesadilla. My guacamole was frozen. I didn't know you could freeze guacamole. But if you can't freeze guacamole and you wonder why you have crappy guacamole from freaking Taco Bell, is they freeze the guacamole. I tried to fork my guacamole. I have frozen guacamole. That sucked. All right, I got to get off this road. I don't know where I'm at, and my GPS stopped working on me because I'm doing this live. I hope everybody is having a great day. We are going to be going out. We're going to be doing a little protest as we work our way into Monday. This is what Daniela's father wants to do. He's not happy. He thinks this guy should be charged with some type of homicide. He's not being charged with homicide. He's not being charged with tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice. He's not being charged with anything that Daniel feels that he should be charged with. And that truly is a shame because, we already have a problem in this county with the sheriff. It's been well documented by the courts. Looked at the record, what the findings of the courts are. This is not me saying these things. I'm not being nasty or being mean to law enforcement. These are things that are in their public record, and somebody like me that is trying to make heads or tails of what could have happened in a case to somebody, we look at all the stuff. We do research of the history of the blessed county. We want to know who's who and what's what when we come into any county. And when we did that for this particular, case, the information that was available in public record for people like me to review does not look good for this county. Does not look good for this county in the least bit at all. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, I'm stopped a little bit. Let me go ahead and get some hays. I pulled over because I need to find my bank, and I'm 11 minutes out. But jeez, what the hell was that? Felt like I heard a knock. Maybe it looks like a ghost town where I'm at. So maybe there's a ghost knocking on my door. I don't know. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. Well, Carla, Outer Banks, Kathleen. Queen, Turtle D, it's nice to see you, love. Denise, Melanie, it's nice to see you. Michelle, Crystal Pistol, Phoenix Moon, it's nice to see you. Barbosa, hey, hey, hey. Ooh, do we have crime? It's just a fire truck. It's just a fire truck. Well, dad burn it, just a fire truck. Okay, Miss Keto, YouTuber, it's nice to see you. SRK, good morning. Dixie, powered by prayer. Oh, I love that. Teresa, I'm an Alamance born. Oh, well, Teresa, we're going to be in downtown. I'm going to be there a little early. Oh, God, I'm breaking out so bad. Look at that. Some days I just don't like being a fifi, you know? Oh, well, we'll cover it up. That's what they make concealer for. Anyways, come out and see us. I'll be setting up. Because I haven't used my equipment in a while, and I've got new equipment out here. So I'm gonna be out there like an hour early. I gotta get my equipment set up and tested. I gotta do sound checks because I got mics and all types of stuff. I want to get some comments from Daniel. You know, I'm kind of observing this. Will I be involved in the protest? Yeah, I'll hold a sign and say something, but this is kind of something that Daniela's father wants to do, and we're going to absolutely support this family in that. The situation here is absolutely horrific. I don't like, out of everything in my life that I try to do, it's just leveling the playing field. So the average Joe has a fighting chance. And this is a situation, whether people want to acknowledge it in this community or not. But, you know, when I hear and see statements and see proof of those statements, like text messages and emails from a sheriff saying, go bring me some Mexicans, arrest me some Mexicans. I'm sorry, I got a problem with that. Okay? You see this color of this skin? It's pretty white, right? Even I have a problem with that. Okay? Maybe these people don't realize that not everybody that looks like me acts like them. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's a cultural problem. America is a melting pot of ethnicity. And I would behoove the sheriff himself to go down and do a DNA test. See what his heritage is. He might be surprised. He might even actually have Hispanic in his bloodline. He should be careful how he speaks. I'm just saying, right? He might be speaking about himself, because when I did my heritage DNA, I was quite surprised at all the nationalities that I am. But I'm proud. I'm proud, right? So I think that in a situation like this, it's hypersensitive because you have a Hispanic young lady and a very white, well-connected douchebag. And the reason why I call him a douchebag is because Josh, he's a POS. He lives with mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy's never allowed him to handle his business or make him accountable, or just accountable for himself. I have problems with that. When you have 30-something-year-olds running around acting like they're teenagers, driving, smoking pot, you know, playing radios, having to have the 12s or the 30, you know, the 10s in the back, like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, really? 30 years old living with mommy and daddy, and this is the best you're doing for yourself. And you think it's cool to drive 120 miles an hour through town? And everybody's just cool with that? And then have the audacity to post it on your social media, driving at an excessive rate of speed, and everybody just looks the other way into that county until you finally kill somebody with your barbaric behavior behind a vehicle. And then we have officers kind of dusting the guy off, saying, you know, it's okay, we gotcha, go on home, we'll take care of this. And then handing the evidence bags to the family and say, clean up your child. Here, go clean up her hair off the road. Go clean up her teeth off the road. So whatever officer was eating my ass coming into town, next time, maybe that brake will hit a little harder. I mean, you know, be careful with Betty. Be careful with Betty. You might be surprised. Kind of jacked you up the first time, didn't I? It hit my ass end of my car. Did you not? That's from you driving too close. Next time, maybe I'll see an animal on the road. Maybe I'll need to hit that brake a little harder. Just saying. hate for a police department to have to be in a civil litigation because they rammed me off the road. And that's exactly how I'll look at it. And that's exactly how that civil suit will be acting. That your officer rammed me off the road. Lucky I didn't get that number, because there would be a filed complaint. And a lot, not in your county, much above your head. So this already setting the stage for what we're going to be dealing with today. I'll have my body camera on. I will be recording everything. I have secret recorders on every inch of my body. I'm not playing with another corrupt county. We did that in Sumner County. And if we got to sue another county, that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm not playing with this county, and I'm not playing with my freedom. I'll just be just like that. So we're going to have all of our cameras on. We're going to be following every bit of the laws. And I hope not to see officers out there harassing this man like we did the first time. Those officers, when they realized Penn Badgley was there, seems awfully funny when they realized the crew was there recording them and how they were treating them. It's funny how all of a sudden they disappeared. Never seen them again. Well, we don't have Penn Badgley out there, but there will be cameras. There will be cameras. I don't know how I like this place. We'll see. We'll see how courteous and proper the behavior of these police department is. But I'm going to be recording everything. If they're out of line one little bit, I will force retraining on them. They will have no choice. I didn't realize that was an option, but now that I know that it's an option, we retrain in America, baby. Now we're going into every freaking county, every city. Now that I know that I have something on my side where a DA will force retraining, their county will force retraining, it's out of their control. They'll be required to go through retraining. So now that I know that we have the ability to do that, I won't tell you how, but now I know that we have the ability to do that, baby, game on. Game on. We learn a lot of new things going through all the processes we go through. And I find that it's very costly to the department. I find that it is a pain in the ass to the officers. And I find that it is a boil on the butt of a police department, and it shows disgrace. When your whole department has to be retrained and it's public, it shows disgrace. Don't disgrace yourself anymore. That's my message. That's my message. But we'll see. We'll play fair. We'll play fair. But, all right, guys, I got to go take care of the bank. I'm praying to God that this goes well. I really, at this point, everything I've gone through, I really don't care. I follow the law. I'm not worried about myself. I just worry about the people that live inside these communities. That's my biggest concern. All these people, the people that live day in and day out, they're fine. But the people that really need law enforcement and to be treated like shit, like, dude, do you realize that's a luxury to be in that job that you do not have to be in? And public service, for me is a badge of honor. And if you're going to act like a public servant but not be a public servant, I have a little bit of a problem with that. See, I'm a public servant. I go all over this country, and I'm a public servant to my community. I fight for my community when people don't have their back. And I do that around this country and will continue to do it. What do? People always ask every time, every case, what do we do? Are we really affecting change? I don't know. But I can tell you every place that I go to is left a little bit better than where it was when I got there. It takes a little pushback, and it takes a lot of strength and backbone, and it takes a lot of balls. And quite frankly, I wear my balls proudly. They're right on my chest, okay? And my balls are bigger than theirs. So that's the way I look at it. Little raunchy, little tacky. I get it. Sometimes you got to put your mad dog face on and just go into the belly of the beast. Retrain the cupcakes. There you go. I didn't know it was I found out I have an ability to force change by way of retraining. Are you kidding? Game changer. Total game changer. So I'm waiting to you know, now that I know the steps, now that I got this new tool in the toolbox, I'd like to use it. So, you know, I'm kind of waiting for the right place and the right time to be able to wield it, and then come to publicly and say that we wielded it. And we got this. So, hey, I think that's been my biggest bitch across this country, is that these police departments need to be retrained. You guys have heard me say that a lot over the last 5 years. You've heard me talk about retraining. Now I know I have the ability, if they violate my rights, to force train them. America, watch out. Betty's on the loose. Betty is on the loose. What? Retraining America. That's going to be our new segment. I think I really am going to go hit the roads across America. And I think for the next year, we might just have a topic. Retrain America. Boom. Done. Can you imagine if we got, there's got to be thousands of police department and sheriff's departments around this country. Can you imagine if we could just retrain 50 police departments around this country, how much better policing would be for their communities? It would be amazing. Like, I wouldn't be sitting on the side of the road fearful. I wouldn't have officers running up my ass because they're scared I might embarrass them. Well, I'm coming to embarrass a community. I'm coming to embarrass a community that deserves to be embarrassed. Why? Because you've created a divide between Hispanics and the whites in your community in 2025. That's a problem. If you don't know it's a problem, let me tell you, it's a problem. We've already got a lot of problems going on all across this country. We don't need to be adding to them. If people are living legally, lawfully, and in peace, and say they wake up one day and their child is run over, they expect a police department to come out there and handle their business professionally. And I pray to God, every tooth and strand of hair he had to pick up from his daughter that you assholes should have picked up, I hope you pay for that. And you know the sad part is, you guys never pay for that. You know who pays for that? Your taxpayers. All your crap, all your BS, and where's the civility and humanity in handing an evidence bag to a father? That is the most despicable, disgusting, slimy thing I think I've ever heard of a police department doing. Ever. And I've been doing this for a while, all over this country. It angers me. It angers me. How dare you? How flippin' dare you? And I can tell you that many audience across this country believe the same as I do. How disgusting. Let me ask you, if it was Daniela in the driver's seat and it was Joshua smushed upon the road, would you have handed the evidence bag to his white family to go pick up his hair and teeth? I'm curious, because I would definitely like to know the answer to that. And like I say, I may have this white skin, but there's half of my family that is Hispanic. Half of my family. That's a lot. So this does resonate with me. Very, very, very much so. And again, people hear my drumbeat. But at the end of the day, my family, if this happened to my family in this county, things would probably be different because of my color of my skin. Me being out there instead of just a bunch of brown-skinned people, right? It's sad. And let's talk about it, because this is the reality of some people's worlds in the United States. Remember when we started out this stuff, guys, remember years ago, everybody was bitching about the racism and all this other stuff. And I'm like, we don't have racism like they had in the 60s, which in fairness, we don't. We don't have what they had in the past. But I also didn't believe that people, I mean, I know that there are going to always be people that just going to believe. There's just going to be hate in this world, and you have to accept it. And it doesn't matter. It could be hate of someone. It could be hate of a religion. It could be hate of a skin color. It could be hate of, curly hair, blue eyes. It's just hate, okay? You're never going to extinguish hate. But for the normal people in this country, you kind of think that this whole race thing isn't an issue. But there's still some clusters of areas across this country where it's the culture of the government. And I truly believe this is one of those places. Graham, North Carolina. Alamance, North Carolina. So we just want to level the playing field. We want to make sure that Daniela has an opportunity for justice, because before Olivia got involved in this case, that was looking pretty grim. And Daniel is almost the Steve Gonsalves for his daughter here in this area. He hasn't stopped fighting for her. He is sick to his stomach about his daughter. He hasn't been sleeping well. All of the stuff we see that happen with parents that lose children. He's starting to really exhibit it. And all he wants is justice, and he's hearing that his baby was just plowed over, and the douchebag that did this to her, which should have been taken off the streets or lost his license a long time before this, is going to maybe get 5 years. They don't look at this as a homicide. They don't look at him kicking her phone off the road as tampering with evidence, even though he moved critical items that help express the scene. Daniel believes there was 40 seconds where Josh got out of his car and moved her body into the ditch. But because he had a plea deal, because he's pled to this crappy deal, no investigation goes into those details. No pulling of his car records, no text messages, no evidence, no discovery, no evidence collection whatsoever. So they basically covered the crime up through this plea deal. And they did give him a slap on the wrist, but not a slap on the wrist. They're making him do some serious time. 5 years is significant, but not for a loss of life. But, and I was talking to Olivia, because I think of this stuff reasonably. And so I was talking to Olivia before we met with Daniel, and I said, look, I'm going to tell you, he's going to get probably 2.5 to 5 years. That's exactly what I told her. Because I know this area. I've heard these stories. He's made enough waves where they cannot not charge him. But this is not such a significant case where they have to throw the book at this guy. So the county has made the decision to do this as what they think is publicly PR fair. And that's the way I look at it, is that they want to show that they're doing something, but they don't want it to be so harsh that it ruins his life, even though one life is fully ruined because of his actions. And had they done what they were supposed to do a long time ago, law enforcement, and ticketed him every single time they saw him speeding and posting videos of him going 120 miles an hour through their roads and in their town, they should have pulled his license. They had enough evidence to pull his license, so he was not a threat to any person else. And I keep wondering about his license. What are they going to do about his license? Is his license going to be removed at least for a significant amount of time, or is he still able to drive? 5 years is nothing. It's nothing. Especially when he could have saved her. She was laying in a ditch for 43 minutes dying. She might have lost her legs, but she would have still been here. 43 minutes suffering in pitch black, alone, not knowing what happened to you as you're just in god-awful pain. I can't even imagine if she was even thinking. Could she think? Did she hit her head so hard that she was just there? Was she having you just don't know. But I truly believe if she lived for 43 minutes in that ditch without any help, if she would have gotten immediate help, do I believe she would have survived? Yes. I believe she would have had complications the rest of her life, but she would have lived. She fought for 43 minutes for somebody to find her. And finally, when he finally did turn around and finally did get out of his car and finally did render help, it was too late because he had left the scene for about a half an hour. That's just not fair. I'm involved in this case because of the corruption and racism aspect of this. This is not my typical case. Is there a crime here? Yes, there is a crime here. But this would not be my typical case that I would normally cover. But the elements of this case meet another aspect, and many of you guys know I'm hyper political. And there's a lot of things that go to my core moral values in politics. And one thing I don't like is authority exceeding that. We give our police departments and our sheriff's departments great authority over us and ability to control us. But there is a line in that sand. And the police departments and the sheriff's departments, they've got to get it, they've got to understand that. They're not the end-all be-all. They don't make up laws as they go just because they're pissed off. They don't arrest people because they're treated like poo-poo. They don't doctor documents just so they can show a valid arrest. If you have to do that, you're part of the problem. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure you guys can hear me. I just got to call in. I got to go. So I got to go, guys. I just got a call. So if you guys can hear me, I'll see you guys back a little bit later. And then we'll chat soon. So let me run. I got to get to my bank and I got to make the call. Love you guys. God bless. We'll see you soon.